Hello and welcome back to the MMA Split Pick Show for our preview of UFC 281 happening this Saturday night, Sunday morning for me because I will be in Thailand watching that as I wake up. Very excited about that. In New York City, Madison Square Garden. Definitely one of the biggest cards of the year. We've got two title fights, massively anticipated feature fight between Dustin Poirier and Michael Chandler, and pretty much the whole rest of the cards is outstanding. There isn't a single fight that you would look at and say, that's a prelim fight. Any of these fights could be on the main event of any card. Massive anticipation. Quite often it's hard for those cards to live up to the expectation, but no matter how things play out, they will be significant. With me to break down everything, give his side of the picks, is our producer Josh, who is still enjoying himself on some Valium. So he may be a little slurry today, but he is not going to let that stop him from giving his opinions and disagreements with me, particularly around the main event.
That is a filthy slur. That is actually not true at all. No Valium at all today.
Oh, shit.
How to test the brownies? Do you see how fucking bad that was going to pan out and how much money I was essentially going to lose there? So, rough fucking week. But yeah, it is what it is. Hopefully things are going to change. Doesn't matter because pretty sure I'm going to win the picks this week.
Well,
Pretty sure the ones I've written down, in my opinion, goddamn shoo-ins. Starting with the main event.
well,
You
just
have
to
no
let
faith in Izzy.
I have lots of faith in Izzy, just not against somebody that's already beat him twice. Before we get into that, please do like the video if you are enjoying our content so far. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed and you'd like to see more, and feel free to leave any comments, particularly on our pick shows, because it's a pick show. We want to see what you guys think is going to happen. Let's see if your predictions match up. Let's see if any of you guys can do better than us. If you do leave picks, we'd love you to do the whole event, but if you just want to do the main card, we do understand. And to give everybody a rundown, as I bring up the scoreboard now, I currently have, after 3 weeks, a 2-fight lead. So season's going well for me so far, although I'd like to have been a bit further ahead after 3 weeks, c'est la vie. I feel fairly confident I'm going to extend that this week, and let us get straight into the main event. Israel Adesanya taking on Alex Pereira, who is new to MMA, but certainly not new to the world of combat sports. Double weight champion in Glory Kickboxing, has 2 wins at middleweight in kickboxing over the current UFC middleweight champion, Israel Adesanya. One of those ending in a pretty brutal knockout via left hook. So it's been 5 years since that fight. A lot of time has passed. Izzy's ascendancy has certainly come up. And this is very much his house, his sport, his cage. All of that being said, though, this is his most dangerous fight in a really long time stylistically. There isn't the wrestling threat, at least on paper, there isn't the wrestling threat. And I will be curious to see how much of an effect that does have over the way Izzy strikes and how aggressive he is and whether or not we see more of a kickboxing style. But in my opinion, we're going to see a kickboxing match over 5-minute rounds in an octagon with 4-ounce gloves. That's my personal opinion. I've seen 2 kickboxing matches. I've seen Izzy get knocked out in 12-ounce gloves. I think it's very, very close, but I'm leaning Alex Pereira. He's not just power. He's touch of death power combined with high-level technique, experience, height, reach, almost all identical to Izzy. He's not going to have the same kind of advantage. And my real big question is, if this is going to be a kickboxing match, and we know that Izzy's has had a lot of fights in MMA against...
Why would it be a kickboxing match, though?
Because I don't see either guy... Let me just finish the point. So I don't see either guy looking for a takedown, at least not initially. I could see somebody getting hurt and maybe turning to certain takedowns or some level changes. I don't think it's going to be like a starting game plan. And one of the worries that I'd have for Israel Adesanya, I should say, to be more clear, he's been fighting a lot of lower level strikers. And I don't know if that's going to be proved to be the best experience or preparation for fighting somebody that's been kickboxing against that higher level striker consistently up until a more recent period of time. And again, when you've got somebody who's that powerful, Izzy needs to be perfect for 25 minutes. I think Alex Pereira, he only needs to get it right once. And this isn't like a brawler. It's not like a Derek Lewis situation where you can say he's not technical. It's easily set up. It's easily choreographed. You know, a technical high level striker can circumnavigate that. This guy knows how to strike. He knows how to set up his shots. And he has the fear factor of having 2 wins over Izzy already. I have to look at that as the evidence. I think Izzy, as champion, has become a little safe. I don't think having a safe, not lose mentality rather than a slightly more aggressive, try to win mentality is going to benefit him in this situation. And obviously, just spoiler alert for everybody, this is the second time we've tried to do this pick show. Did not record the first time with me filling in as producer while Josh's desktop is having some issues. You know, safety was the key thing. I just feel like mentality is going to be so important in this. And Izzy's defending the crown. I don't know if that's going to be the best preparation for a guy like Alex Pereira. I've spoken a lot. Josh, you're obviously leaning more Izzy, as we can tell. Please take the floor and give your thoughts on this.
Well, I don't think Izzy's an idiot. I don't think he's going to try and fight a kickboxing fight. Alex Pereira is very, very dangerous. He is a strong technical striker. He sets up great, powerful, like you say, touch of death shots. But I really think that if you look at everyone that Izzy's been fighting and the things he would have had to have put into his camp and, you know, kind of thinking about Robert Whittaker, Kelvin Gaston, Paulo Costa, Romero, I've got to assume he understands how to time a takedown, how to kind of work the clinch a little bit. All he has to do is fuck with Alex Pereira a little bit. And it's going to make it a much, much easier fight for him to either outpoint him, or if Alex gets a little over aggressive, you know, maybe even really, you know, really punish him. I don't know, finish him, but, you know, maybe really put a statement on it. I think Izzy's a much, much better fighter with those smalls. The way he roll shots is better. I think he just understands at this level how to really not MMA strike, but to just MMA fight. And I don't think he's going to be like trying to take him down every sort of few minutes. I think maybe once around, maybe in 1 or 2, like maybe 2 rounds, he takes him down or even threatens it, you know, but just those feints and just keeping it honest. I think it's just going to be enough to kind of just make Alex kind of back up a little bit and not rush things. And if Izzy's not just kind of walking straight into it, I think it's going to be a little harder for Alex to avoid the kind of lateral movement, the kicking game, and just how quick he can counter inside as well.
Listen,
but like he is dangerous, like you said.
Josh, what I'd say to that though is, don't get me wrong, and this is obviously another thing we discussed when we, you know, take one of trying to do this pick show. I would love to see Izzy fake a 1-2 or throw a 1-2 up top to distract him, dive in for a double leg, look to kind of bring that element of surprise. But you're asking and expecting to see something that he is literally across his entire career not once statistically ever attempted. So I don't think it's a reasonable expectation to say, oh, Izzy's just definitely going to bring this grappling element in. Obviously, Alex Pereira has been training for years with Glover Teixeira. So you have to think that there's going to be at least an awareness of certain positions in the ground and of jiu-jitsu. Izzy's not a black belt. He just got his purple belt, and that's fantastic. But I don't know if that's a domain. I feel like Izzy is going to try and stick to what he thinks are his best skills. The main differential, and I have been thinking about this a lot, the difference between the octagon and the kickboxing ring in terms of the space and your ability to maneuver and avoid damage on the outside, I think can play a huge factor in this. Because if you watch the first two kickboxing fights, all of the success, or most of the success that Alex Pereira had across the two fights came from being able to press Izzy back, particularly get him into the corner and then, or against the ropes, and then kind of apply pressure. Izzy had his best success when he was able to pressure Alex Pereira backwards. But I do feel like Izzy's game is more naturally sort of being on the back foot. So I think the space of the octagon is something Izzy has to take advantage of, being able to use that wider space, not being able to get cornered in so easily. And I do think if he wants to win this, he's going to have to be willing to pressure Alex Pereira forward. The problem is that he had a lot of success doing that against him in the second kickboxing fight, and he got caught with a left hook. So the level of danger he's in and the calculations he has to make, for me, combined with the fact that I feel like there might be things he's taken for granted fighting lower level strikers that you get away with when you're fighting a Cannonier, when you're fighting a Gastelum, even when you're fighting a Robert Whittaker based on his height and reach, that I think Alex Pereira will take advantage of. And I just have that feeling, man. My pick, I'm putting it in. It's official. I'm going Alex Pereira.
Yeah, they're kind of saying he's going to take him down, and just hold him down, for 2-3 minutes. I'm just saying he's going to, hopefully threaten some level changes in some combinations, make Pereira think about it, and hopefully, kind of just back him up to the fence, maybe drag him down, maybe kill some time, but maybe just kind of do some things, some veteran kind of moves, make it more than just a kickboxing match, make it an
Yeah.
MMA contest. He's the champion for a reason. He has been very, very impressive. I don't doubt him. And I think it'll be a fun fight. I'm not saying Pereira's been fast tracked. It's a fun fight for a reason, but I fully expect Adesanya to win this.
Also, how old's Pereira? He's 34, 35, maybe a bit older. I mean,
Sure.
you got to do this fight while there's still time to do it. A few stats I've just got up on the screen very quickly. Strikes landed per minute, Izzy at 3.93. Alex Pereira, 6.29. Bear in mind, though, that he's different levels of fighters that they've fought, different levels of experience. Significant strike percentage is he's about just under 50% at 49. Alex Pereira at 60%. So, again, difficult to say because, yeah, he hasn't fought as many fights and he's not fighting the same level of guys. But grappling, both of them, 0 takedowns landed or attempted per minute. Although Izzy does have 1 submission on his career. So 1 win by submission, apparently, or 1 submission attempt, I should say. So maybe he seems like the more likely one. Izzy's the favorite, apparently, coming into this. Very slight favorite.
Honestly, I don't care if Alex does train with Glover Teixeira. It's not that he has to have a great single leg or a double leg. It's just being able to threaten it in his combinations, being able to finish in different ways, hide you know, um, hide the power hand coming behind maybe or a low kick, just do different things with it and just really remind Alex that this isn't a kickboxing fight. That would make a difference. I think is he smart enough, good enough. I think if he stays away from the power, he should be kind of winning this fight as well. I think Eugene Behrman will have him fighting smart. I think they will, kind of not like exactly like Alexander Volkanovski, but adopt big, a very smart, high percentage do the right thing MMA game plan. That's what I think.
Fair enough. Well, separation straight away. You're going Adesanya, I'm going Pereira, and we are moving on to our co-main event. Carla Esparza defending the belt against Zhang Weili. Not a fight that she wanted to take, a fight she tried very hard not to take. She campaigned pretty damn hard for Marina Rodriguez. That fight, unfortunately, is not who she's been made to go up against.
And I remember you emphatically picked Esparza. I said, don't do it, Matt. And you said, don't. Let me undo it. I'm locked in. You said you're definitely going for Esparza. I have that written down.
So one of the things I wasn't too upset about Take One not getting recorded for is that Josh did do this thing on pretty much all of the fights that we agreed with, where he basically just spent the entire conversation desperately trying to tell me not to pick the person I've picked. Listen, if Carla Esparza wins this fight, then fair enough. That's impressive. I don't think she's going to win this fight. There's nothing that makes me think that she can beat her other than
changing your opinion now, are you?
I never change my opinion, Josh. I never change this. I will not hear these disgraceful slurs. I didn't pick Carla to beat Rose. I'm not picking Carla to beat Zhang Weili. I may be wrong on this, but Zhang Weili, powerful, can wrestle, can grapple, dangerous everywhere, probably the best pure athletes in this division. I mean, I know Andrade is a fucking freak of nature, but Zhang Weili beat her in 51 seconds. I mean, this woman is a monster. The only person that's been able to beat her in this weight class in the UFC, in fact, in the UFC in general, she's only fought in this weight class, is Rose Namajunas, who basically is one of the best fighters of all time, as long as she doesn't have to fight Carla Esparza. The fact that Carla's champion is just beggars belief. It was one of those weird matchups, weird situations, champ mentally all over the shop. We don't need to discuss Rose any more than she's been discussed recently. Like I say, man, if she pulls this off, fair play. But I can't see any reason. Like, Carla's got no threat on the feet. The only threat is landing the takedown. Zhang Weili is going to be so well prepared for that, and she's so athletic. I think she'd be able to get up if she got put on her back. And I think, unlike Rose, she's going to approach this fight thinking, I can hurt this girl, and if she does put me on my back, I trust my takedown defense, and I trust my ability to pop back up. And to be honest, if you look back at the Rose fight against Carla, anytime Rose did get taken down, she popped straight back up. So she almost gave Carla more respect than she deserved.
Don't look back at the Rose fight. Like, that is a fight that can be in any way, shape, kind of broken down. That was a farce.
Well, from a mental point of view, I think there's a lot you can learn. Mentally, I think there's loads that you can take away from that. It's just not. She turned up, yeah. But the point I'm making is, Rose gave her too much respect. I don't see Zhang Weili doing that. I see Zhang Weili running through her, reclaiming the belt. And I'll tell you what, I was watching, obviously doing this a little bit later now for Take Two with our recording of the pick show. I was able to watch the press conference last night. New York crowd was all behind Zhang Weili. Last year, she walked out to boos against Rose. This year, she's going to be walking out as the crowd's favorite. I'm picking Zhang.
It's hard not to pick Zhang Weili. Try to think of positive things to say. Carla Esparza, she surprised girls before. Nowhere.
I understand. You're picking Zhang.
To this. Yeah, there are like maybe two girls that could be Zhang Weili. Carla Esparza just happens to have 2 wins over one of them, but it just isn't quite what it is.
It is what it is.
Let's move. Zhang Weili.
Perfect. Let's move down to Dustin Poirier taking on Michael Chandler. Definitely the most explosive fight on the card. Huge fan favorite. Obviously, it was at the same position last year, where Michael Chandler fought Justin Gaethje in one of the most entertaining fights. In fact, was fight of the year. Absolute battle for the ages. This has got all the recipes of that, but I do think this is going to be a little bit more one-sided than that was. Dustin Poirier, best boxer in the division, really good striker, mentally tough as anything, lives in that take guys into the deep water and drown them mentality. Michael Chandler, extremely explosive for 7 minutes, maybe the most dangerous guy in the division, but fights are longer than 7 minutes. And I don't think he's got the chin. You know, we see that if you catch him clean, he seems to go down. I feel like Dustin's going to catch him clean. I feel that boxing, that guard in particular, is very, very effective. It throws guys off. He uses a lot of old school techniques like the kind of Kettering shift to go forwards into his opposite stance and then land another shot in close distance. Could Michael Chandler catch him? Yeah. Can Michael Chandler take him down if he tries to wrestle him? Yeah, probably. Would I like this more as a 5-round fight for Dustin? 100%. But still got to back my boy, Dustin Poirier, one of my all-time favorite fighters. I think he gets the win. Only caveat for me with this one is where's his head's at? Hasn't fought for a year, lost his title shot, second shot at the belt. Is he fighting like a guy that believes he can get back? Is he just sort of doing this for the money? How committed is he on that side? I hope it's 100%. Best Dustin beats the best Michael. Dustin Poirier all day.
I think it'd be interesting to see. I remember when we first did the big show, you only gave the Chan Man 6 minutes. I think 6, 7 minutes. It's around about fair. That's about what he's got, and he's very, very dangerous at the very beginning of the fight. Dustin Poirier will be able to very successfully chew up that lead leg. Michael Chandler does leave that quite vulnerable, and if his footwork is slick, which it tends to be, his hands are nice and fluid, which they do tend to be. I think Dustin Poirier is be able to tag him a little bit. Chandler probably will be able to take him down, hold him down, hit him a little bit. Poirier is good enough to kind of get back to his feet, or at the very least, just kind of slow it down. I just think Dustin Poirier takes over late. I can't remember if I predicted a finish last time or not. We don't really record that anymore. But
we don't do the
I
finishes
fully
anymore.
expect that Dustin Poirier should be winning a very, very fun fight here.
I'd agree with that. The only thing I'd say is I think with the Southpaw versus Orthodox stance, it might be a little tricky for him to take advantage of the leg kicks in the same way. But he likes to land them. I'm sure he's working with his camp on ways that he can still set them up, particularly with the lead leg. Yeah, it's Dustin all day, man. If Michael Chandler wins this, fair play. And could he catch him? Yeah. I don't think he will. We move on to definitely the sentimental moments of the card. Frankie Edgar, his last ever fight, his retirement fight, taken on a dangerous guy, Chris Gutierrez, who's no joke, presents a lot of problems that I think is specifically going to be very difficult for Frankie Edgar. Would we have liked to see a legend fight him? Yeah. I mean, Dominic Cruz was the one that they should have done. But Dominic Cruz fought Chito Vera. And obviously that wasn't very long ago. So they just couldn't quite put that one in. He's still going to get his moment. It's not New Jersey, but it's damn close. Lots of people are going to be there for him, cheering him on. The only problem is I think Chris Gutierrez wins this, man. He lands nasty leg kicks, dangerous striker. I can see him getting taken down by Frankie, but I think he won't get finished there. I think he'll be able to get back up. And Frankie's chin just isn't what it used to be, man. The only thing I hope is that he's still able, even if he gets beaten, to have his moments on the mic afterwards and say goodbye. I don't want to see him, on the ground like after the Sandhagen fight where he's just unconscious for a minute and a half and then taken straight out.
I think Frankie holds tight. He gets hit too clean. I think he hits that power double leg. I think Rodriguez eats some ground and pound. I think
Gutierrez.
Edgar retires. Sorry. Gutierrez eats some ground and pound. And Edgar retires on a win.
Bold. You're back in Frankie.
Yes.
It doesn't feel good to pick against Frankie. And just to clarify as well, to the other fight that we're different on so far, I would like to see Israel Adesanya win. This isn't a week where I'm going to be overly upset if I turn out to be wrong. It's just a week where I don't want to lose. I don't want to have my heart broken and also lose the pick show. So I'm cold blooded with my picks this week, but definitely with Frankie, I'd like to be wrong. Opening fight of the main card, Dan Hooker. He's back. He's back at lightweight where he belongs. He's taking on Peru's own Claudio Puelles. This is a dangerous guy, seriously dangerous guy. I love Dan Hooker, but Claudio Puelles collects knees, and it's not always pretty, and it's a nasty way to lose. And I mean, look at fucking Clay Guida when he fought him. Dan says he's improved. He says he's fixed the holes in his game. That's what every fighter says. He has got good takedown defense, but Claudio Puelles is going to hit you with all sorts of crazy shit, man. He can strike. He's happy to pull guard. He'll roll. He's going to throw a lot of problems at Dan Hooker, and that's why he's my pick. I'm picking Claudio Puelles.
Yeah, man. Puelles is the comeback kid. He can take beating and still snatch that submission. I love Dan. Unfortunately, I think his confidence is dipping. Claudio, he's growing. It's just a bit of a bad stylistic matchup at the wrong time. Claudio all day.
Yeah, confidence is a big thing in sport, and Dan's taken a lot of damage recently. I mean, throughout his whole career, really. But
well, you have to be confident to avoid positions with someone that has such a good submission game, particularly a leg lock submission game. There's so many positions you have to, if not avoid, control very carefully. And it's something where you cannot really make mistakes. And it makes the whole fight really about trying to avoid allowing them to dictate their game plan just because they have that one opportunity to really change the entire fight. And it's just such a great thing to be a specialist at.
yeah, and it's not a style of jiu-jitsu that you necessarily have to prepare for very often. So you're always fighting guys where it might only be that camp where they've really sort of had to pay specific attention to it. And also, Claudio Puelles, man, he's a confident guy. I don't know if you watched the press conference, but yeah, probably the best suit on stage. Feels like it's his moment, ready to kick the card off in style. It's going to be a good fight either way, man. Again, if Dan wins, I'm not upset. I don't mind being wrong this card. I just don't think I'm going to be wrong.
Close fight. By the way, just saying close fight. I think Dan Hooker is going to be kicking his ass right up until he gets submitted. I think it's going to be a great fight. Very excited to watch this fight.
Well, that's our main card, but moving on to the prelims. Headlining the prelims, we've got another City Kickboxing student, Brad Riddell, taking on Renato Moicano. This is a great fight, man. Really good matchmaking. Both guys coming off losses. Obviously, Brad Riddell, he had the Fiziev loss and then the Jalen Turner loss. It's funny, I'm picking Riddell, but I do think Moicano brings a lot of the same kind of problems and issues that he's had to deal with Jalen Turner, in the sense of a dangerous striker with length and reach who's also got really dangerous submissions. I just feel like he's not going to be up against the same level of height discrepancy and reach discrepancy. It's not the same level of athleticism and power. I don't think Moicano's as dangerous on his feet. And I don't think he goes for submissions. Like Jalen Turner will go for a submission in a position where you can think that you're safe. Moicano's more of that. He'll get you into the position and then he'll lock in the submission.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
I'm picking for it.
also like I think with Moicano, even though he has got a very long jab, someone like Riddell, he can get inside it. And if Moicano, he does let it try and throw the knee as well to kind of try and counter any sort of inside movement or any kind of takedowns. I think if Brad Riddell is smart enough not to really kind of get caught by that, he's going to constantly be able to find Moicano slightly off balance
Yeah,
and, hurting him to the body, maybe even hurting him to the chin. I think Brad Riddell is just stylistically a stand-up fighter quite a fair bit better. And although Moicano should absolutely destroy him on the ground, I wonder how easy it's going to be for him to get it there.
I agree with you.
Especially if Riddell's able to move around on the feet, like I suspect he will.
Well, also, there's another factor here, which is that we've got 4 city kickboxing guys on this card. I can't pick all of them to lose. I've got too much respect for that gym and for that camp. Brad Riddell, you're the guy who I think is going to bring the win home. Takes us down to Dominic Reyes taking on Ryan Spann, aka the easiest fight for me to pick on this card. This is no disrespect to Ryan Spann, he's had some good wins, but it was a heartbeat ago that we were talking about Dominic Reyes probably, deserving to be the light heavyweight champion after that John Jones fight, and he's had some, a couple of rough losses since then. But look at the guys he lost to. John Jones, greatest light heavyweight of all time, follows that up by fighting Jan Blachowicz, who was the next light heavyweight champion that was for the belt. And then after that, he loses to Yuri Prochaska, who is now the current light heavyweight champion. This is a different
just
level
ridiculous
of guy.
elbow as well. Just
Yeah.
ridiculous elbow.
He hurt him as well. He hurt him multiple times in that fight. He had him in the guillotine, I thought was 100% locked in. Dominic Reyes, he's taken a good amount of time to recover from the damage that he took in the Jan and Yuri fights. It seems like he's got his mentality back as well. He stopped kind of being in that mindset of, I should have been the champ and I deserve to be the champ. And now he's just about building himself back. And I'm excited for it. I like Dominic Reyes. I think his style is very good. I think he's a dangerous striker. Throws the high kick really nicely. Ryan Spann's not got the chin for this fight, man. This is a round 1 knockout for me.
It's cynical. I think anything can happen at 205, but it'd be a lot of fun to put some money on Dominic Reyes. I don't know if
Agreed.
I'm necessarily saying
Well,
he's a distance, but
he's
let's
a
just accept that he is a much more accomplished, much more aggressive striker. Just he can fight so much more direct down the middle as well, and just completely beat Span to the punch. I just don't think Span will be able to get much going without taking unnecessary risks.
yeah, he's getting.
And
Well, listen, Reyes is a minus 215 favorite for a reason. I think that's one where I definitely feel that the odds have got it right.
yeah, parlay that bet.
Potentially
Find
with our
something to do with that.
potentially with our next fight, because Erin Blanchfield is taking on Molly McCann. I hate picking against Molly McCann, but
Don't bet on this one.
yeah, Erin Blanchfield, she's a monster, man. I mean, she's out wrestling and ragdolling women, I should say, rather, who are wrestlers and usually do that to everybody else that they fight. Like, you and I speak very highly of Miranda Maverick. And when she fought Erin Blanchfield, that was not a close fight. Erin did whatever she wanted to Miranda. Now, Molly presents a different issue because whatever you say about Molly McCann, I've said this before, I will say it every time I talk about her. There is a viciousness and a willingness and a desire to hurt you that not every single female MMA fighter brings in, even at the high level of the UFC, even ranked. It's different. It's not like one-shot knockout power, but it's every punch is looking to hurt you, and you've got to account for a spinning elbow, something a little bit wild. That intensity, I don't know if Erin's dealt with, but I've also seen fights where the easiest way to beat Molly McCann is to take the hands out of the equation and get her on her back. And you can do that. I think Erin will. I think it's going to be a horrible, smothering decision win, which for English fans will be gutting because we won't be there to really light up the stadium and cheer Molly on. And she's not really going to be able to have the fight in the spaces that she needs to win it. I'm picking Erin.
I missed that we had this one different.
Oh, you're going Molly?
I'm going Meatball. I just think
Bold.
Meatball, I'm just going to take that chance. I think she's going to get the opportunity to do some real damage. Damage wins fights. We'll see how it goes. It's going to be a good, potentially good fight, though. Aaron can definitely grind it out. Make it not a dull, but you know what I mean? Like a slow, arduous decision.
Well, I'm curious. I'm curious to see who gets cheered on the way out. That's going to be something I pay attention to. I have a feeling Molly might still be the crowd favorite for this one, even though she's not American, but we will see. Next down, Andre Petroski, Ultimate Fighter contestant. He didn't win it, but God, he's looked pretty damn good in the UFC since he's come in. Didn't come in on a winner's contract, but still got his shot. Taking on Wellington Turman, there's not too much to say on this for me. Andre Petroski looks really good in the most important area of MMA, which is wrestling. Physically, he's looking good. He seems to be getting the cardio issues that we saw in the Tough House under control. And I've got nothing against Wellington Turman. I just think this is a bad fight for him.
I think Wellington Turman should be winning this fight. I think Wellington Turman will constantly disappoint me. He surprises me here and there, but yeah, more or less, he just kind of lets me down. I'm going Petroski. I thought I was going to get this one over you as well. I thought this was going to be another one I was going to sneak in. You were going to go Turman, thinking the wrestler against the jiu-jitsu ace. Makes a mistake, leaves his neck out there. Who knows? We know probably won't happen.
Both for Petroski.
Yeah, he's
right. Early prelims, we're just going to run through these very quickly. Matt Frivola taking on Otman Azaitar. Do you know what's crazy? And I can't believe I'm actually reading this. Frivola, according to the UFC website, is a minus 145 favorite. Now, my question is...
those odds are going to drop like a bad potato off a balcony.
Well, based on the recent James Krause situations coming to light, it makes me wonder, what does the MMA community know about Otman Azaitar's training camp? Because these statistics, those odds make no sense. I've watched Azaitar literally like wreck people in the UFC. I mean, not even close. I've never seen, not once have I ever seen Matt Frivola. I mean, he actually, I've seen him wreck one guy, but I've seen him get wrecked more than he wrecks. Zaitar's 13-0. Like, what are we talking about here? It's Zaitar all day. If he actually turns out to be a favorite, I'm putting a bet on right now. And this is not a betting pick show.
That's going to be a parlay on Frivola.
No, I'm going as Zaitar. Zaitar's the underdog, statistically. Whew, putting my money there.
Yeah, man, I'm going to Zaitar as well. Just, I don't know, they surprises me that that's where the odds are. The James Cross thing.
It's very odd. We don't need to say too much on that. We're both going as Zaitar. Yeah. Karolina Kowalkiewicz taking on Silvana Gomez Juarez. Like for what I've seen from Silvana so far, definitely got that one punch knockout power, big right hand. It's got to be Karolina for me though. The K Surgeons.
Yep, similar. Going Kotkevich. Yeah, I just feel like the majority of this fight is going to be in her comfort zone. She's going to outpoint her. Nice, simple, aggressive three-round fight.
Couldn't agree more. Michael Trezano taking on Sung Woo Choi. Now, when we did this recording of the pick show initially earlier in the week, I went Mike Trezano. I have decided to switch across to Choi, though. It's the one thing I've changed, and I'm not apologizing for it.
You fucking bitch. Alright, fine. Song Woo Choi is. Both Song Woo Choi. No offense, Mike. I'm a Trezano fan.
Yeah, sticking with that one.
And
I just don't want to lose this pick show to you, and if it turns out to all come down to picking Mike Trezano over Sung Woo Choi, that would be a bitter pill to swallow. So that's my logic there. Last two fights to do picks for. First two fights of the night. Julio Arce taking on Montel Jackson. This is a really good fight. Great fight to have second up. I picked Montel Jackson initially. I'm still picking Montel Jackson, although I've heard a lot of people talking about Julio Arce. I think he presents a lot of problems. This is going to be a close fight.
yeah, if you can get hold of him, take him down. I'm gonna go Montel Jackson as well. Both got the same there, and I'm really worried we both got the same on the opener.
We have, because Nikolai Negumereanu, I think, is a beast. And although Carlos Ulberg has looked better in his last two fights in the UFC compared to his debut against Kennedy in Zekuche, I think Negumereanu is really good in the area that's going to create problems for Carlos Ulberg. He's going to pressure him. He's going to get close. He's going to manhandle him. He's going to get him to the ground, and he's going to beat him up. Nikolai all day. Which means that I'm thinking it's going to be 1-3 for City Kickboxing. Brad Riddell's the only guy I've got winning.
Well, I think they're going to have like an absolutely stellar evening. I'm going Negu as well. I think Ulberg just gets over aggressive sometimes when he thinks he's got his man hurt. Negumereanu is very, very dangerous. He will get opportunities to counter. He will punish him. I do not think this one goes the distance. Again, without picking methods, I just like to give my 2 cents.
Not a problem at all. And that is our pick show for one of the biggest cards of the year. Hopefully it lives up to expectation. And guys, once again, like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. Tell us who you think is going to win this weekend. And next week, we will still be doing the podcast around the same point, even though I'm in Thailand with Josh. Schedule at the moment, we should be able to make that work. And I think, do we have a card next weekend as well, Josh?
You are asking the wrong guy on the wrong day. Do you know what I mean?
We do. We've got Lewis versus Sergey Spivak the following week. So pick show will be coming out for that next week as well. Guys, thanks for listening. Enjoy the fights. And bye Dave, bye Laurie, bye Trifa.
Bye Laurie. Bye Dave. Peace.